I chose to do my final exam on Chapter 14, Finding, Cultivating, and Using Sources. In Chapter 14, it talks about how you get sources, how to get the best information out of them, and other sources outside of humans. A good way to find a source is to go straight to where the action is going on. For example, if there is a homicide, you might think that the family of the deceased wouldn't want to talk to you. But oftentimes, they understand that it's your job and they want to get the story of their family member out. Getting the best information from your sources comes from asking good questions. If you ask them tough but fair questions, they will often give you quotes that will make your story more compelling and give your audience the answer they want to know. Asking informed questions is a good way to get your source to be more comfortable around you if you ever need to interview them again. Outside of human beings, there are plenty of other sources, or plenty of other ways to find sources. You can get some of the best information from things like public records, books, or even press releases. The book says reporters today often use just interviews as their means of sources, but the best work comes when there are several types of sources in a story. For question number 2, social media has taken off more than I expect people to ever imagine. Everyone is on social media, and that means that everyone can see everything that you post. Even if you delete something, your followers are able to just screenshot it or see your cached data, and those things never go away. You can't delete screenshots off somebody else's phone, and they probably won't delete it if it's something that you yourself deleted. So journalists suffer mightily from this, as their careers are dependent on their reputation. So if a journalist were to tweet some breaking news, but it turned out that it was incorrect and that news wasn't true at all, there would be some people out there who would have seen it and would no longer trust anything that they say from then on out. That can also affect a news organization's public image. So if their reporter tweets something out that was incorrect, they can take just as much blame as the reporter does for employing that reporter. And the everyday citizen doesn't understand that these people are writing hundreds of stories a year, and this one mistake might not have been the end of the world. But the public doesn't always get that, and if the public doesn't believe you, nobody's going to read your stories, and then if nobody's reading your stories, nobody's going to want to pay you, and you'll be out of a job. For question number 3, the advice I would give to any students that are signed up for your class for next year, it's pretty simple actually. Just do your work. The majority of your grade in this class comes from the reporting assignments. Those are crucial not only to this class, but for your ability to grow as a writer. They're the templates for the stories you're going to be writing for the rest of your life. To go over those a little bit, the first reporting assignment was a preview story, and we did our preview on the Alumni Symposium. The biggest challenge that I faced during writing this story was getting a quote from a relevant source, because it's sometimes hard to find a good source, and you might not be able to get somebody as close to what the event is as you would like. The next reporting assignment was the interview reporting assignment. For the interview, for this assignment, we had to profile somebody, and we had to write the story using the questions that we asked and the quotes that they gave us. The hardest part of this was trying to find like a good story to tell from only such a short interview. Our third reporting assignment was an obituary. We wrote an obituary for a staff member in Greyhand. The biggest challenge I faced while writing this story was trying to get all of the information about somebody in a brief obituary. The fourth reporting assignment was on the public meeting. We went to a city council meeting and wrote a recap of what happened at that meeting. The hardest part of this was getting a good quote, because not a lot of speaking went on. It was just naming the things that they were talking about, but they weren't talking about it. They were just voting on them. And determining the most important part of the event was difficult too. That's when you need to use your background knowledge to really find out what's going on. The next to last reporting assignment was the breaking news assignment. We had somebody come into class and tell us some breaking news, and we had to write a story on it. The most difficult part of this was writing it in the time restraint, because we only have an hour and 15 minutes for class, and that took up 15 minutes, so we had to get a good story written in an hour. And the final reporting assignment was the speech recap. We went to the joke recent lecture and then told a summary of the speech. The most difficult part of that assignment was finding the main points of the speech and then turning that into a good article. That's all I got.